Warner Bros. Multiversus is the brand new platform fighting game from Warner Bros. Coming soon in 2022, and I am really excited. With so many famous Warner Bros. Owned characters, I wanted to make a list talking about the ones that I wanted to see the most. Here is the top 12 characters I want to see in Warner Bros. Multiversus. Why top 12? Because I like to go 2 steps beyond. Number 12, Fred Flintstone from the Flintstones. I feel like this spot just has to be given to him. He's so famous in Hanna-Barbera, and it would feel weird to not have Fred Flintstone. I never watched the series as a kid, but I do know of it, and I feel like if they don't put in Fred Flintstone, it would just be a little weird that they would have Shaggy. Even though I particularly didn't grow up with the Flintstones, I know a lot of kids did, either through their gummy vitamins or through cereal or through whatnot. Fred Flintstone and the Flintstones in general have become more popular than the cartoon itself, I like to think. And because of that, he deserves his roster slot. But I also wanted to put him this low because he seems more like a must-be pick. He has to be in this game, and I can't imagine that they wouldn't make a game with Hanna-Barbera characters without the face of Hanna-Barbera. Because of that, I still want Fred Flintstone in the game, he's just not my top pick, which is why he's this low. Number 11, The Wicked Witch of the West from The Wizard of Oz. I feel like The Wizard of Oz has become so famous not because of its acting, not because of its story, not because of its world building, but because it was one of the first movies ever in color and one of the first movies to ever mix white and black colors with bright and even more vibrant colors. To go along with that, the Wicked Witch of the West has become such a famous character in pop culture that most kids and people alike think of her when they think a witch. Green skin, pointy black hat, a black cloak, and a broom that she rides on. This is the idea of a witch now, and it all started from The Wizard of Oz. Not to mention the fantastic musical Wicked. On top of that, the Wicked Witch is kind of the only character I can imagine from The Wizard of Oz to actually be in this game. There really isn't any other characters that do any fighting, and if they were to pick one, why not pick the one that started the idea of the common witch? Overall, the Wicked Witch definitely deserves her roster spot for the same reason why Fred Flintstone deserves a roster spot: legacy. She's a very famous character because of the impact The Wizard of Oz left on people, and if they didn't try to capitalize on this, that would be just downright crushing. Number 10, Pennywise from It. Now I'm going to be completely honest with you, I've never seen it. I know nothing about it, but I do know Pennywise is a very famous character, especially from the 2017 remake of the original miniseries. I've really never been interested in it, but in a game as cartoonish as Multiversus, something like Pennywise could really shine. I know that he does a lot of silly things and he's a dancing clown, and I think it will be really interesting to see those ideas brought to life in a platform fighting game. On top of that, Pennywise has already appeared in the brand new Space Jam movie, so there's nothing stopping Warner Brothers about putting this very horror-themed character into little kid stuff. So, in my opinion, why not? Throw him in there. He'll be interesting, and I'd be curious to see what he does. I've never been interested in the series, but I know that this would make a lot of fans very, very happy. Number 9, Neo from The Matrix. How could anyone pass up the opportunity to put Neo from The Matrix in a fighting game? It just seems too perfect. Imagine the swift movements, the great counters, the blocking, the stuns, all of the amazing things that you could do with Neo. The Matrix has become such a popular movie, and I can't imagine that they don't try and put Neo in the game. At least Neo, if not a couple other characters like Morpheus. Not to mention, The Matrix is getting a brand new movie, so now would be the perfect time to announce Neo to be in this game. Though, I think it would be safer if you chose young Neo, just because. Overall, Neo 100% deserves a spot on this roster, if for nothing else because he's just so iconic as an amazingly cool character. Number 9, Godzilla. This character literally needs little to no introduction. If you ask someone on the street, do you know who Godzilla is? They'll probably answer yes. Godzilla is the king of monsters. Well, next to the monkey, but he is the king of monsters. I know for a fact that Godzilla has a lot of fans, including a few of my personal friends, so seeing him in this game I think would be really cool. Now you could debate, oh, but he's too big, but at the same time, Ridley's in Smash and Reptar's in All-Star Brawl. So why not round it out by including literally the inspiration for both of those characters as the very first Dragon Kaiju. I was going to include King Kong on this list as well with Godzilla, but to be honest with you, I barely know anything about Godzilla or King Kong, but I still think that they're great characters and iconic, which is why they're on this list. Overall, Godzilla deserves to be in the game, if not only because he's just way too popular not to be. They should take advantage of this if they have it, same as all the other characters. But from here on out, these are all characters that I actually know a lot about, so I'm going to be talking a little bit more about them. But who knows? If Godzilla is in the game, I'll be sure to check him out, because darn is he going to be interesting. Number 7. Freddy Krueger from A Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm going to be honest, this one is kind of reaching, but at the same time, it's Freddy flippin' Krueger. How could someone not want to play as this burnt cheese looking jerk? While he was way more popular in the 80s, Freddy Krueger is basically a representative of horror in general. He is the boogeyman. Whether you like it or not, he will always be iconic. Even if you don't like horror movies, everyone knows who Freddy Krueger is. The clawed glove, the burnt cheese face, the fedora, the shirt, everything about him is iconic. It's not like Freddy isn't very receptive to being in other games. He was in Dead by Daylight, Mortal Kombat, and in Terrordrome, so I would be really curious to see what they would do with Freddy Krueger in a platform fighter. With someone who could bend the rules and be a dream demon, it would be so interesting to see him use such interesting moves like throwing his claw into the ground and having it pop up where you want it to, or having a flame trail follow you, or the weird Freddy worm thing. It would be so interesting to play as Freddy, and he's too iconic to pass up on, same as everyone else. Not to mention, he would have a playstyle that I can't really even name. Would he be a zoner? Would he be a mix-up? Would he even be a sword fighter since he technically has swords on his fingers? Either way, Freddy would probably be one of the more interesting characters if put into this game, only because you can bend the rules to do whatever the heck you want. You can have moves referencing stuff he did from the movies, or you can just take advantage of his dream powers and make completely new moves. Overall, Freddy has to be in this game, if not only because it's so interesting what you could do with him, but again, similar to Pennywise, we don't really know if they're going to put in any horror characters. But out of all of the characters that they own, Freddy is by far the one that deserves it the most. Number 6. Austin Powers. Come on, you really didn't think that Shaggy would be the only joke character on this roster, would you? Why wouldn't you want to put someone like Austin Powers in this game? He's a spy, he's got guns, he's comedic, and he's the perfect satirization of James Bond. Austin Powers would probably be the most comedic character in the game next to Shaggy, though Shaggy looks like he takes more inspiration from memes. Rather, Austin Powers doesn't need any inspiration from memes. He is the memes. He created the memes. So why not throw him in? Similar to why people want Kappa Mikey, he more represents the entire idea of parody and satire on just popular medias. Things like Spaceballs satirize things like Star Wars, but Austin Powers still sticks around in people's minds as being a great, funny trilogy of James Bond. So I'd love to see what they do to bring him and his series into new life. Overall, I'm just curious to see if they do put him in, how they would make him work. But all we can say is one thing. If he is put in the game, it would be totally groovy, baby. Number 5, Beetlejuice. Played by Michael Keaton, Beetlejuice has kind of been cemented as one of the first ever spooky funny characters. The movie and the character itself has a lot of creep factor, but it also is just played funny. It's a cool movie for littler kids to watch, same with things like Hocus Pocus. So why wouldn't you want to put him in the game? Honestly, if they don't put someone like Freddy or Pennywise into the game, I would much rather have Beetlejuice only because he's kind of more for everyone. Not all the time, of course, but it's still a pretty funny movie that you can watch with basically anyone and get a good laugh in. Not to mention Beetlejuice's new hit musical and the brand new cameo that he had in Space Jam: A New Legacy. Beetlejuice could be in this game for all I know. He has the most signs pointing to him. Michael Keaton brought so much life to this character that I can't imagine anyone else voicing him, but I do think that the stage performer would actually do a pretty good job if given the opportunity. Overall, Beetlejuice is just a really fun character to mess around with, and it'd be interesting how they would adapt him into a type of platform fighting game. If they do end up putting in Beetlejuice in, I'm just wondering, we gonna like it? Number 4, Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. Now, really, Scorpion would probably be the only fighting game character that does make an appearance, but I do want to explain his pick a little bit more. The whole reason why this game even exists at all is because of Ultra Instinct Shaggy and the fact that people really wanted him to be in Mortal Kombat 11. Obviously, they couldn't do that, so Warner Brothers decided to make their own platform fighting game based on the idea of Ultra Instinct Shaggy. Scorpion's the most popular character in Mortal Kombat, so it does make sense for him out of all the other characters to be in this game. We could also finally see a rematch from the very beginning of the newest Mortal Kombat anime movie. I never saw it, but I saw the opening scene, and let me tell you, that was flippin' hilarious. I'll still be excited for this game no matter what, but seeing Scorpion in it will just bring a giant smile to my face as I say to Shaggy, "Get over here!" My third place for most wanted character is Parzival from Ready Player One. Now, hear me out on this pick because it might actually be one that you agree with. We all know that there are a lot of franchises that just probably won't be represented in Multiversus. So why not have a character that can reference them all with other moves in their moveset similar to Duck Hunt in Super Smash Bros. His moveset could be an amalgamation of so many different 80s movies and nostalgia, things like Rubik's Cubes and audio cues from Back to the Future. Just a bunch of stuff like that would be sincerely interesting to see, don't you think? He could be the perfect amalgamation character to reference things from Warner Brothers that just can't warrant an entire slot. Love or hate the movie, you have to admit that it brought up a lot of cool visuals and ideas, and having some of those be referenced in this game would be pretty darn interesting. Overall, I just really want Parzival in the game just so that we can get more franchises represented. Similar to how Duck Hunt mostly covered just NES games in general, I want Parzival to reference mostly 80s movies that just can't leave their mark in this game without him. My second most wanted character for this game is Jotaro Kujo from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So here's a fun fact. Warner Brothers Japan owns the rights to JoJo. So why not put Jotaro Kujo in the game? He'd be an interesting rep, he'd be fun to play, and most importantly, now that Jump Force is going out of commission, this might be the chance for Jotaro to rise in a new game. I know this is severely unlikely and probably not going to happen, but I still would really like to see Jotaro make an appearance in this game. Again, I'm kind of wishfully thinking for what might be in this game, but I just feel like he deserves a spot at this point. It's kind of weird to think, but there really hasn't been a platform fighter version of an anime game. Even though it has literally little to no chance of happening, I'm still hoping that Jotaro could potentially make his way into the game and one more time scream out, "Star Platinum, the world!" And my number one most wanted character for Multiversus is Accelerator from a certain magical index. I mean, there's literally an index character on my banner. What did you expect? Of course I'm going to make the index character my most wanted character. Warner Brothers only owns the rights to a couple animes, and one of them is a certain magical index. And by far, Accelerator is my most wanted character for this game. But why? Why do I want Accelerator so much? It's very simple. He'd have the most interesting moveset. In the series, every power is called an Esper ability or a magical ability, and Accelerator's Esper ability is called Vector Transformation. Without going too much in detail, this basically means that Accelerator can manipulate anything to go the opposite direction. So if someone tries to throw a punch at him, he can simply break their hand at multiple points or just completely disintegrate their hand on impact. He can also use his power in other ways, but I'm not going to be spoiling it for anyone. Go watch Index if you're curious. All you really need to know is that if anyone on this list could be picked for this game, I would 110% pick Accelerator. Even though every other character on this list is someone I'd really like to see, Accelerator will always take the cake. And that is my top 12 most wanted characters for Multiversus. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure to subscribe and check out the rest of my content. I'll be making more Multiversus videos soon, but I mostly cover Star Wars and other stuff like that. But I'm mostly a variety player, and I do like to play a lot of different fighting games. Thanks so much for watching this video. I'll see you later. Bye bye.